Henderson County was born in 1838, separating itself from its sister county, Buncombe, to the north. Although the county is in the Blue Ridge Mountains, it rests on an extensive plateau along the French Broad and Mills River valleys. For hundreds of generations, the Cherokee inhabited the county and the region, using the area's streams and fields as hunting grounds and making Flat Rock their tribal council grounds. However, their forced removal by the U.S. government in 1838, the Trail of Tears, ended the Cherokee reign. Settlers came to Henderson County in the 18th century. Its founder was also its Johnny Appleseed, William Mills. He made his home in the fruitland area, planting hundreds of fruit trees, leading to the birth of Henderson County's acclaimed apple industry. Henderson County was a gold mine of natural resources. In the 18th century, the county was literally the center of gold production. For well over a century, the spectrum of local resources included timber, minerals, livestock, and agricultural, against the backdrop of the locomotive steam whistles. Perhaps Henderson County's most valuable remaining resource is its rural open space, stretching from the Sugarloaf Mountain to the Saluda Mountains, from the Ocklawaha River, Mud Creek, to the French Broad. It was once a mecca of wetlands and is home to 6 watersheds and over 30 streams. But Henderson County, like the state of North Carolina, is facing unprecedented growth, which threatens its rural legacy. Increasingly, our woodland forest, precious farmland, and wetlands are turning from green to gray. In the last 20 years, North Carolina has lost nearly 2.4 million acres of crop and forest land. That is equal to 325 acres disappearing every day. Where have all the open spaces gone? In 2 decades, development land area in the state has increased by 1.86 million acres, a 65% increase. Our county lost 14,721 acres of farmland between 1987 and 1997, and if this trend continues, we will lose an additional 23,000 acres by 2017. The latest from the Henderson County Planning Department is that from 1993 to 2003, open space, which includes forested lands, farms, and wetlands, declined by more than 50,000 acres, or approximately 22%. That is not to say that growth is an impossible problem. Pedestrian-friendly neighborhoods, close to municipal services, and that are the equivalent density to what is around them, help foster communities. The dismantling of green spaces to give a few wealthy out-of-towners a view, while destroying scenic vistas, damaging waterways, and draining the county services, simply does not make a fiscal land use planning or environmental sense. A community either plans for the future or it watches as the future is sold to the highest bidder. In the words of Randall Arendt, the renowned rural design planner, no community plans to convert every acre of farmland or woodland into a cookie-cutter subdivisions consisting of nothing more than lawns and cul-de-sacs, or turn their major roads into congested strip centers filled with garish signs filled with asphalt. Yet this is the result when a community fails to create a vision for itself. There are many good planning examples of how growth can be managed to protect the rural character of communities. Some of them are in our own backyard. But we also have our share of bad examples, where planning departments may have been involved, but precious little planning got done. When planning is based on conservation design, ensuring that what remains are contiguous open spaces, for the habitats vital to the area's ecosystem, they become twice green. Green for the county's natural heritage and financially successful for developers. The county's 2020 comprehensive plan recently had a birthday, and it is now 4 years old. The plan is a true feather in the cap of county policymakers. The comprehensive plan sought to protect rural areas from random development, control lines of infrastructure in those spaces, protect farmland, and to encourage smart growth in areas where higher density already exists. In hearing after hearing across the county, residents made it clear that growth and development and loss of our natural heritage and community character were a primary concern. The plan established rural agricultural areas which limit the amount of infrastructure to be brought there, including city water and large roadways. All that was required was the Board of Commissioners to put rules in place that governed the control of infrastructure, the protection of open spaces, and the protection of farmland, and the support of conservation subdivisions. What we got was a land development code, which created density caps for various parts of the county. A good first step, but a far cry from a solution. Zoning by itself does little or nothing to control sprawl and loss of open spaces or farmland. More than likely, it did the opposite. The Board of County Commissioners have established several questionable precedents over the last year to bring the lines of infrastructure, namely public water, to places that the comprehensive plan clearly directs against: Bearwalla Mountain, Pinnacle Falls, and Cobblestone Village in Zirconia, rather than establish a set of rules that guide development consistent with the comprehensive plan, which provides guidance to developers, landowners, and residents on what to expect. Our policymakers have strayed from taking the bull by the horns. The result has been chipping away at the county's rural character, one development at a time, the opposite of what the 2020 Comprehensive Plan and the Land Development Code were designed to establish. Henderson County has a choice: to protect its natural legacy and rural character, which brings $200 million into the county's coffers each year, or it can suffer the death of 1,000 cuts that many other towns like ours have faced. This is Crab Creek today. And here it is a few years from now, should development continue on its present course. And by the way, the after photo is perfectly allowable under the current Land Development Code. This is Etowah today, a fast developing section of our county. And here it is tomorrow. The Green River section is one of the last pristine areas left in the county. However, with the approval of city water going across the Intercontinental Divide in direct violation of our comprehensive plan, it is not unlikely it'll look just like this around the corner. Bearwalla Mountains farms go back for many generations. Much of its open space still remains, but that is changing now that public water has been approved. It is not a stretch that the mountain will be another home for the rich and famous, becoming richly famous for its fragmentation of sensitive habitats. Citizens tend to get outraged when mega development McMansions are planned for their community. Yet what affects Green River affects Crab Creek, and what affects Etowah Horseshoe Community impacts Edneyville. We don't live on isolated tracts of hundreds of acres as we did a generation ago. The consequences to our community affects us all. That's why it is so critical that we work together to plan our community's future. ECO, the Environmental Conservation Organization, is developing a green map of our county to help our community plan its future. The light green areas on the map are all that remain of our privately owned open space. Later this year, a similar blue map on projected water availability will be completed. This is all we have. Can we really afford to take each development project one piece at a time any longer? The remains of the county's open spaces are disappearing quickly. Agricultural has been the backbone of our economy and source of pride since before William Mills planted his first seeds. But farmers are facing a serious crisis. Food prices and profits barely keeping up with the rising land prices, taxes, and the skyrocketing overhead make selling the farm an attractive alternative to bankruptcy. Yet towns like ours and nearby states offer farmers an alternative. By offering transferable development rights and the rights to sell density credits, farmers receive value for their farm over time without being forced to sell it for development, while encouraging development in a responsible way. Other possible initiatives include developing an open space plan for the county, requiring that all development decisions follow the comprehensive plan, encourage the county to purchase development rights in key areas to protect our open spaces, restricting public water and other infrastructure to traditionally rural areas of the county, making conservation subdivisions that protect open space the standard and not a special use. What can you do to protect our mountains? Call county commissioners. Tell them we need real planning in the county that embraces some or all of the policy proposals we have discussed. Help with the petition drive. We've collected several hundred signatures already. Help us get several thousand. Join ECO's Green Infrastructure Committee to help us galvanize public support, put pressure on policymakers, and research successes from the region and propose new rules for adoption. Our mountain treasures may not be the creations of man, but is within the power of man, the people of Henderson County, to protect it for future generations. Will our children, our grandchildren, enjoy clean water, clean air, and open spaces that people have enjoyed in these hills for over 11,000 years? When we turn over the keys, what will be left? Will we be bold enough? Will we be strong enough? Can we afford not to be?